I am Catherine. I'm the Development and Communications Coordinator here at Southside Center of Hope, if you don't already know that by now. And I am joined today by Sid, who is the Vice Chair of our newly established, well, almost established,
Almost.
um, Young Professionals Board. So I'm very excited, first and foremost, to announce the Young Professionals Board, and secondly, to have Sid here with us to speak a little bit about her motivations and whatnot. So thank you for joining us, Sid.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's always been a pleasure to do anything with Southside Center of Hope, so I'm excited to be here on Giving Tuesday.
Perfect. And so why don't you go ahead and just share with us, um, what your motivation was behind joining the Young Professionals Board? Why did you want to be involved with this agency in this way?
Yeah, I think anytime I seek out new opportunities in the philanthropy world or in, the volunteering world or the mutual aid world, I kind of tend to gravitate towards organizations that are really doing tangible, strong work for women in our community. I think it's incredibly important that we're supporting fellow women and doing everything we can to make sure that they're able to reach any potential that they have and that they want to be able to reach. And Southside Center of Hope, does that in such a real way. When people work with Southside Center of Hope or come stay there and then leave, um, they can look back and point to all the things that they were able to gain from Southside Center of Hope that really made a difference in completely changing their life. And the opportunity to be able to be a part of that and to help with that and to also meet a lot of other, young professionals that are really interested in caring for their own communities was kind of really what drove me to the Young Professionals Board here.
Yeah, and I have been so pleased and I'm so inspired by everyone on the Young Professionals Board, and especially you, Sid, because I think in every single meeting you have brought up how important it is to you that we accurately represent the women that we are serving.
Mhm.
Um, and so I don't know, I guess I just wanted to kind of ask you a little bit, because you've shared it with me, but I'm hoping you can also share it with our supporters. Just, I don't know, I guess what you see, or what pushes you to stay involved with that respect, because I know that's really important to you. Do you see us doing that? Do you think I'm just curious your perspective on um, on the work that we're doing based on your knowledge of the population that we serve.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's been great getting to know a little bit more about the organization and the way the organization really tries to keep the staff particularly representative of the community they serve. And I think that as we build our Young Professionals Board, I think we're doing a really great job of that too. And it's something that's close to my heart. A long time ago, when I was a kid, I used to do those volunteer trips with a church to Mexico. And at the time, I thought that I was really, helping people and doing the right thing. But then I grew up and I learned that that was actually, not great. It was essentially just touring another country and kind of handing out fish, but not really teaching anyone to fish.
Mhm.
And on top of that, all of the volunteers, with the exception of me, were completely foreign from the culture that we were going to help. And so we were kind of just barging into this other area without checking and asking what the people wanted or needed, and just making assumptions about what they needed, and then patting ourselves on the back for it. And I've seen that sometimes reflected in, nationwide larger nonprofits. So it's just really important and really special to be able to be a part of Southside Center of Hope, where representation matters and where that kind of thing is really thoughtfully discussed all the time with leadership. And where, it's important to everyone that I've interacted with so far that we're positively impacting our community together with them, not just, coming and doing things for people. And so
Yeah.
it's been really great having that energy and having that understanding at Southside Center of Hope.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know my question came out a little jumbled, but that was exactly what I was hoping that you would say. Um, so, the other thing that I wanted to give you an opportunity to share was just, I've been calling on the Young Professionals Board quite a bit to help us, I guess, increase awareness about the agency, help us reach your network, spread the word about the work that we're doing and what our needs are. So, with all that being said, I would like to ask you, why do you think people should support Southside Center of Hope? What do you say, when you are encouraging your friends and colleagues and family members, whoever it may be, to join you in supporting our mission?
Yeah, I would just encourage people to, really, if they're willing to give on this Giving Tuesday, um, to really understand that it's very appreciated. I know so many people that have such big hearts and want so badly to help in a lot of different areas. And, they want to be out volunteering, they want to be out getting to know their neighbors, they want to be, helping people. But whether it's due to work or the pandemic or family obligations, it's not always easy for everybody to be directly involved in the things that they want to be changing. And one of the ways that they can do that is honestly just donating money sometimes, particularly on Giving Tuesday.
Mhm.
And, I know that sometimes it feels a little bit disconnected to just give money to something and then walk away. Um, but with these smaller local organizations like ours, it's very easy to see that your donation's actually going a really long way to helping people. And that kind of impact, even though you were a step away from it, you're still making the same impact because of your donation and because of the way you reached out and said, hey, I can help you with that a little bit. And so I think a big part of it is just understanding that it truly is helpful, and kind of reconnecting with what you're giving and not necessarily feeling like it's just going to go away from you now, because donations really do have a direct impact. And so I think it's important that people, give themselves permission to remember that they're actually helping quite a lot. And it's
Yeah.
not something that we're taking and then forgetting about you. It's really appreciated, and it does have a direct impact on the work that the community and the center are doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. So thank you so much for saying that. Um, And, one other thing that I wanted to ask you that I didn't forewarn you about, but I'm going to throw it at you anyways, because I'm so excited about the Young Professionals Board. And I wanted to see if you would share with our viewers. The Young Professionals Board is going to be officially established starting on January 1st.
Mhm.
And you all have created a lot of really exciting plans and goals and strategies. And so I'm just curious if you could share, like, maybe what you're kind of most looking forward to as a founding member of the Young Professionals Board over the next year.
Yeah, I'm honestly really looking forward to just getting to take part in shaping something. You and the executive board have been so amazing in your, in the autonomy that you've given us and in the respect that you've given us. And it's very exciting to feel like we actually have the ability to kind of shape what this board does, and how we're impacting residents at the center. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to just have the chance to shape it. And also, I'm honestly incredibly impressed with and excited about the caliber of people that we have on our board, because it's been so nice to meet, other people in our age bracket that are, young professionals that want to take, a more ongoing and tangible part in making an impact in their area.
Yeah, I agree. I've been very impressed and overwhelmed as well. So thank you for sharing that as well. Thank you for joining us today. I do really appreciate it. I'll let you go for now. Um, I'm going to stick around and say a little bit more, but again, thank you, Sid. I'm so happy that you were able to join us, and thank you for supporting our mission.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our next meeting. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I am so excited about the Young Professionals Board. And I'm very grateful that Sid was able to join us today to talk a little bit about that. I think that earlier today, I mentioned that our goals, for Giving Tuesday and kind of, very broadly also are fundraising and increasing awareness, two things that are really important to us to be able to build and grow and create longevity in our organization. And I think the Young Professionals Board is going to be a really, really important piece in building in our strategic plan for the next, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the whole rest of the road ahead. They're going to be very important to our mission. And so I kind of thought now might be a good time. We talked about this new, this new Young Professionals Board that's being started, and there are a lot of transitions going on with our agency as well. Peter earlier mentioned, working towards developing some long-term housing. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot we're talking about. There's a lot we're looking towards. But I wanted to take a moment and share with you all a little bit about the history of our agency. There is a video that I posted earlier today of Sister Therese giving a little bit of a background on, how St. Martin de Porres House of Hope came to be. But I wanted to share kind of, another reiteration of that story. So Sister Connie Driscoll, who has since passed, but, back in the early 80s, she was on her way to Colorado. She was retiring and she had planned to retire in Colorado and stopped in Chicago along the way to visit some of her sisters, other nuns who had educated her at some point, were her teachers in the past. And she was in Chicago visiting with her friends, her former teachers, and was reading the newspaper. And she became very moved by a story that she had read that described women and their children who were homeless. They were sleeping on trains. And, that was just, a moment where she felt a calling. She canceled her retirement plans and joined forces with Sister Teresa O'Sullivan to create St. Martin de Porres House of Hope. And that was in 1983. They created St. Martin de Porres House of Hope as a charitable organization to serve homeless women and their children. They did that for a couple years. I believe that they were originally operating the shelter out of, I think it was formerly a drugstore. And it was, small, but working for them. And as they saw their need begin to increase, they needed the space to increase. They eventually moved to the facility that we're in right now, which is a large former Catholic school that we're in right now. But during that time, they're moving from building to building. They're kind of, readdressing the needs of the women that they're serving. They realized that a lot of homeless women were struggling with addiction, substance use addiction. And so, after a few years of operating as a traditional shelter, they transitioned and began really concentrated efforts to address this major cause of homelessness that they saw, which was substance use addiction. Sister Therese and Sister Connie, along with some volunteers, transformed this abandoned drugstore into a shelter. The very first donation they received was for $15, which just goes to show you, you know, what we've been talking about all day, that no donation is too small. Every amount of money can be, you know, used and directly impact the lives of the women that we're serving. And their story also goes to show us that, you know, we can accomplish quite a lot if we work together. You know, very extraordinary things can happen if we come together. And that's why today, you know, we are trying to together give the gift of recovery. Um, and so, you know, I just wanted to share that with you because, like I said, you know, we're kind of going into a new chapter, few new chapters here. Um, and I think it's really important to make sure that we are always acknowledging the beauty of our legacy. We would not be here if it was not for Sister Teresa and Sister Connie. If Sister Connie never would have read that newspaper article, you know, we would not be 37 years later with thousands of women having been served and, you know, recovered from their addiction. So so I hope that you all will join me this Giving Tuesday in supporting Southside Center of Hope. Um, and thank you so much for joining me on all of these live streams today. I really enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it too. As always, you know, leave me a comment, share, ask questions. If I don't have the answers, I'll find them for you. So, yeah, I think we've got a couple more coming today. So I will let you all go for now. Thank you again, and I will be back shortly.